Isolation Protocol Day 64. It is also Tuesday, so there is a reading for today, and also 7 days before my birthday, and I said I would be giving away a present for my birthday, so we will get to that at the end, but I can hardly wait, so I'm going to show you what you might be able to win. There is a bookmark. It is 1960s themed, with peace signs and stuff, or stitch markers, and it's on a spring-loaded stitch marker holder. There's a large one so that you can use that like a row counter or something, and a lot of small ones, also 1960s themed. Yes, that one is a pot leaf in the middle there. Peace sign, pot leaf, love, guitar. Yay, peace, love, and rock and roll. Let's see. Today I had to go over to my uncle's and fix his TV and DVD player. They were no longer talking to each other, and most of the local TV stations reconfigured their antennas recently, or at least over the past few months, and he was only able to get 2 channels, and one was in Chinese. So I had to rescan his TV. He had started to get cable TV installed, but he said it was just too much trouble, too much work, and in the process, his DVD player stopped working. Well, it didn't stop working. It got unplugged. So that was an easy fix. Just plug that in. So rescanned his TV, plugged that in, all the while not touching anything except the remote control, which was then wiped down with a bleach wipe, and wearing masks, of course. I also delivered a big bag of chocolate, courtesy of C's Candy, who gave their leftover Easter candies to the Sheriff's Department. And Kerry, being in the Sheriff's Department, brought over a whole bunch to me, and the candies having walnuts in them, and me being allergic to walnuts, I couldn't eat them. So they ended up with my uncle, who was in heaven. So now he's got 70 channels that he can watch on his TV and enough chocolate to make him sick. Okay, I am back and I completely forgot where I was. I think it showed up. Stop kicking the computer, dog. Ah, dang. Stop it. Showed off the bookmark, knitting. Yeah, okay, so went to my uncle's, fixed his TV. And left. Now it's on to the reading. This is from Defanged, Defanged, as in removing of fangs. And this is a scene where Jonathan is hanging out and trying to not go to another one of his mother's parties. His mother keeps trying to fix him up with people, and his father keeps trying to force him into a job at the agency that he works for. Okay, so here's Jonathan trying to avoid his parents. Jonathan sneaked up the service stairs to avoid notice. Mother was directing traffic as caterers, florists, decorators, musicians, and who knows what else raced around preparing for yet another party. This one seemed bigger than usual. It was an evening party, after all. Perhaps he would be able to hide in his suite and no one would notice. That thought evaporated when he found a new tuxedo laid out in his room. Hopefully this one fit him better than that horrible yellow thing. Ignoring the ornate clothing, he plopped into an overstuffed chair near the window and picked up a book he'd found. Isabel had laughed at that. That Bram Stoker got quite a few things wrong, but it is interesting. He couldn't get Isabel's laugh out of his head. Tossing the book back on the table, he paced a bit, then picked up a small toolbox full of gears, cogs, and other tiny parts. He pulled on his magnifying goggles and set to work fiddling with the items. With a tiny screwdriver, he attached another gear that would raise and lower yet another leg of the tiny bug he was creating. He was adjusting the timing when a sudden shout nearly caused him to fling gears and screws everywhere. He turned towards the doors, pulling the goggles up onto his forehead. "Father?" "Boy, what are you doing? Get dressed. The guests are already arriving." "Please, Father, I don't want Mother to parade me around in front of another gaggle of giggling girls. I am not feeling well." He stared at the carving on the chair near the door, afraid to look Father in the eyes. "Nonsense, boy." His father grabbed the trousers and threw them at Jonathan. "Get dressed, now. And besides, I discussed the problem with your mother, and she has finished inviting flocks of simpering swans, young ladies to meet you. Where is— Oh, there you are." Father pulled his personal valet into Jonathan's room. "Make him presentable immediately." The valet nodded, handing the freshly pressed cravat to Samuel. He set to work layering the clothing onto a resigned Jonathan. The shoulders of the shiny black jacket were too snug still, but the valet managed to get it on. Jonathan tried to move his arms, but the fine fabric felt like it would tear. His years on the rowing team at the university had broadened his shoulders wider than usual on a proper gentleman. With one last pass of the brush, the valet declared him fit to receive guests. "About time," Father fussed with his cravat, now a wrinkled mess. The valet managed to get it presentable in a moment before fading into the shadows in a corner of the room. "Come along, boy, you made us late." Guests milled about the entire first floor. Jonathan was relieved to see they were mostly married couples or his father's old cronies. He tried to step aside, toward the tables laden with food, but Father took his sleeve and kept him close. "Hamilton, so glad you could make it. This is my boy, Jonathan. This is Hamilton. He heads the tracker team out of Philadelphia." Jonathan made what he hoped was appropriate small talk until Father pulled him away again. He was introduced to so many men that their names became a blur in his head. The only thing they all had in common was that they all ran tracker teams, the goon squads as civilians called them, the ones who hunted the rogue vampires and kept the tamed ones under control. A thought percolated through his mind. "Father," he said quietly, stepping into the middle of the main room, "what's going on?" Samuel grabbed 2 glasses of champagne, next page, off a passing tray. "You've been taking entirely too long to get down to business, boy. You've been out of university for, oh, I don't know, too long. You need to get on with your life. These," he waved one hand grandly, sloshing a bit of champagne onto Jonathan's tuxedo, "all of these will soon be your co-workers. You start next month." "Father, I can't. I won't." "Hush, boy. Look. In front of the fireplace. That is the head of the Regional Bureau office himself. Come. Now." Jonathan followed, afraid to make a scene. Father would punish him severely if he embarrassed him in front of all of these hunters. He noticed his mother approaching from the side. She hissed into his ear, "Stand up straight, Jonathan Patrick. I will not have guests thinking I didn't raise you right. And smile." Father greeted the man, attempting to shake hands until he realized he held a champagne glass in each hand. He passed one to Evelyn. "Mr. Weathersby, welcome, sir. You remember my son, Jonathan? Miss Weatherby, so nice to see you." Mother managed to discreetly rearrange everyone into her neurotic balance, leaving Jonathan facing Mr. Weatherby's daughter. He'd already forgotten her name, or had Father even mentioned it. The young girl made a gagging, choking sound. Jonathan became concerned until he realized that was the sound of her laugh. He tried to keep his face from showing disgust. It was bad enough that she had dull, ashen hair and tiny, beady eyes. With her long, pointed nose and her large buck teeth, she looked like a rodent. And completing the look, she had her hair tied up in 2 knots atop of her head, side by side, looking just like rat ears. And that is from Defanged, which is being written by me and Kerry together. It's taking a lot longer now that we can't get together every week to pass chapters back and forth. print them out, go over them, discuss them, and that sort of thing. Plus, Kerry is not only doing her own errands on her day off, but she is also running all of mine and several other people who are in high-risk categories that she wants to keep isolated. So she's doing shopping and stuff for a lot of people, and that takes up her entire day off, which means no writing. So I'm still working on it slightly, but I'm putting most of my energy into Girl Unseen right now, which should be done fairly soon. All right, so on to the contest. For my book-loving uh, viewers here, I've got a bookmark since I was born in 1960, and I am turning 60 next week. Got 60s themed charms hanging from a horse. And also I have 60s themed stitch markers. Let's see if I can get that to focus. Peace sign, heart, footprints, pot leaf, love, and of course, a guitar. So, what am I going to do? Just leave a comment, like this video, leave a comment, subscribe if you feel like it, and share it or invite somebody else to follow me as well. I'm on next Tuesday, which is my birthday, I will be choosing a winner at random. That is it for today. So I will catch you later on the next episode of Isolation Protocol.